What's this? A letter for me.
Welcome to another episode of Remember the Great Sports Through the Mail Thursdays. Today I'm going to share with you 3 recent returns that I just got back in the mail, so we're just going to jump right into these. And we're going to look at some of these vintage baseball cards, and this first one's postmarked from Houston, Texas, and it is former Houston native Montreal Expo Balor Moore on 1, 2, 3, and a 4th. So my Canadian friends and viewers that I know there's a couple of you that are subbed to my channel. I think you're going to like the history of this individual because not only was he a Montreal Expo, but he was also a Toronto Blue Jay later in his career. So let me tell you about Balor Moore and his career in baseball. Balor Moore was a pitcher out of Deer Park High School in Deer Park, Texas, and he was selected in the first round, 22nd overall in the 1969 Major League Draft by the expansion Montreal Expos. So this is a neat trivia question. Balor Moore was the first person ever drafted by the Montreal Expos. Well, after signing his contract with the Expos, Moore was put on the fast track to the major leagues. His first year appearing in rookie ball and A-ball, he posted a 12-6 win-loss record and a 1.17 earned run average in 21 games for the Expos. Well, being the Expos were an expansion team, they kind of probably rushed more quicker than they should have, because the following year he started the year in just A-ball and was called up to the major leagues, where he appeared in it, making his major league debut on May 21st, 1970 at just 19 years old. He appeared in 6 games total, 2 of them that he started, appearing in 9.2 innings pitched, and things didn't go so well. He posted a 7.45 ERA in just those 6 games that he pitched, and then he was relinquished back to Double-A, and where he would pretty much finish out the regular season with their Triple-A affiliate. Excuse me, I said Double-A, but I meant Triple-A, where he would finish out the year with their Triple-A affiliate, posting a 7.9 record with a 3.8 ERA. Well, in 1971, he would start the year in Triple-A, and the wheels just fell off, so to speak. In just 15 starts that year, he posted a 2 wins and 11 losses with a 6.33 ERA that year in 1971, and the Expos did not call him up based on those numbers. Now, that can pretty much tell you right there, just by looking at those numbers, that they rushed the guy a little too fast, bringing him to the majors, and the damage had already been done, so to speak, whether it was psychologically or physically or whatever. So he did not have a very good year in 1971, and tried to bounce back in 1972 to get back up to the majors. So going, after spending some time in the Army, actually, in the military service, he went back to Double-A in 1972, so sent down the Double-A from Triple-A, where he went 5-3 with a .63 ERA, which got him called back up to the major leagues. His promotion to Montreal didn't go well. He was roughed up his first 4 starts, posting a 0-3 record with a 6.45 ERA. He turned his season around, however, on July 14th when he pitched a complete game 9-1 victory over the Dodgers. From there, Moore went 9-6 with a 2.94 ERA, including a 25-inning scoreless streak broken on September 16th by then rookie Mike Schmidt, of all people, when Schmidt hit his first career home run off of Balor Moore. For that season, the left-hander made 22 starts and struck out 161 batters. That winter, he moved down and played winter ball in Puerto Rico, and actually pitched a perfect game in the Puerto Rican League. Moore's record dipped to just 7 wins and 16 losses in 1973, mostly due to an increase in walks compared to his previous year. Still, Moore struck out an average of 7.71 batters per 9 innings, second in the National League, and held batters to a .233 batting average. So that tells me that Moore was not the cause of a lot of his losses, that he just didn't have a lot of good players around him. Because when you strike out 7.71 batters per 9 innings, that's a pretty good strikeout ratio per 9. So here's where things kind of went south for Moore. Moore having a promising, 1973 season, he injured his ankle in spring training in 1974, and his arm also got injured at that point. He went 0 wins and 3 losses with a 10.20 ERA and 6 rehab appearances in AAA that year, before undergoing major elbow surgery during that offseason. He returned in 1975 and was never the same. He was 1-3 with a 4 ERA for Memphis when his contract was sold to the California Angels. He earned a September call-up to the Angels in 1977, going 0-2 with a 3.97 ERA. After just one season in California, Moore's contract was sold to the Toronto Blue Jays. Moore spent the final 3 seasons of his career with the Blue Jays, going 12-17 with a 4.96 ERA. He spent the 1981 season in the minors with the Brewers and the Houston Astros after officially retiring from baseball. In his entire career, Moore had a 40 wins and 58 loss record with a 4.01 ERA. After his retirement as a player from baseball, he moved back to his native Texas and got involved in the steel business. And according to his Wikipedia page, he currently owns a business called Britick's Pipe Company in Houston, Texas. So I don't know if he's retired from working from his second career. As Mr. Bourne was born in 1951, so he possibly could be embarking on a second retirement. But this is just another example of, you hear about pitchers that get rushed too quickly to the majors, and I think Moore might be one, a candidate, for that discussion, because things were very promising until he got injured, and not working with the right coach or whatever it may be, whoever you want to blame. That pretty much cost him his effectiveness as a major league pitcher. So very, very cool to add the first ever Montreal Expo draft pick to my collection. You can't even say that anymore because the Montreal Expos don't exist. So having a team that doesn't exist anymore and have their number 1 overall pick ever is pretty cool. So we'll move on to the next envelope. All right, so this next one is postmarked, and it is from a former utility catcher type, Pat Corrales, on his rookie card. Also a card as a Cardinal, also as a card as a Red, and finally is the manager of the Cleveland Indians. So let me tell you about Pat Corrales and his career in baseball, which was a very, very, very long time. Pat Corrales was a baseball and football star at Fresno High School in Fresno, California, and teammates of future Major League pitchers Jim Maloney and Dick Ellsworth. As an offensive guard and linebacker, he was named Lineman of the Year by the Fresno Bee. After high school, he signed as an amateur free agent with the Phillies in 1959. He worked his way up through the minor leagues, and he made his major league playing debut at age 23 on August 2nd, 1964, with the Philadelphia Phillies. His first career hit came the next year, so he was more or less kind of a defensive replacement catcher type. He had to wait another year to get his first career hit, and that came on June 15th, 1965, in a loss to the Milwaukee Braves. In a 9-year playing career as a backup catcher, including backing up such Hall of Famers as Johnny Bench and others, Corrales played in 300 games, collected 166 hits, 4 career home runs, and 54 RBIs batted in for a lifetime .216 batting average. He appeared in 1 game of the 1970 World Series for the Reds and batted once, grounding out for the final out of the series as the Reds fell in 5 to the Baltimore Orioles. This is important because Corrales would have to wait many, many more years to finally get that World Series ring, and we'll talk about that. Corrales worked as a coach, working his way up through the minor leagues until finally spending 9 years as the top skipper in the major leagues, compiling a record of 572 wins and 634 losses as the manager of the Texas Rangers, the Philadelphia Phillies, the team that originally signed him, and also the Cleveland Indians. He managed in both leagues. He has the designation for being the first manager with Mexican roots to ever manage in the major leagues. After being let go in 1987 as the manager of the Indians, he had a long career as a bench coach. He was in that role for 9 years with the Atlanta Braves, who would eventually win the World Series, as he was the bench coach, and also with the Washington Nationals for the 2000-2008 season. After finishing out his tenure as the bench coach with the Nationals, he actually worked as a special consultant with the Nationals. He resumed bench coach duty roles in July of 2009. Corrales was once again appointed the bench coach in 2011 when Davey Johnson was there. After the 2011 season, Corrales was hired by the Los Angeles Dodgers as a special assistant to the general manager. Not really sure if he's still doing that or not, because he's, how old is he? Yeah, he's in his 80s now, so I don't know if he's still working for the Dodgers or not. And he is inducted as a member in the Fresno County Athletic Hall of Fame is another designation. So very, very happy to add Mr. Corrales to my collection, and kind of profile him and talk about him on my channel. Obviously, there's some vintage cards that are out there, but he also has some managerial cards. I know for a fact he has an 87 Topps. I just didn't include it this go around, so I know I've seen that card, but I know he does have a handful of managerial cards. Those would be easier to come by, obviously, than the vintage ones. So we'll move into the final person in return and talk about him. All right, so this next one, postmarked from Louisiana, and a lot of people have written this individual, TTM, recently in the last year or two. So I got on the bandwagon as well. And as many of you know, I love collecting my oversized cards. As you can see, that is the 83 Action All-Star, and you can see the size of it as opposed to a regular card. And that is a return from New York Yankees great legend Ron Guidry on 1/1. And just very, very happy to add this oversized autograph to the collection. So let me tell you about Ron Guidry and his career in baseball. So Ron Guidry, Lafayette, Louisiana native, was actually drafted in the 3rd round of the 1971 draft by the New York Yankees out of the University of Louisiana at Lafayette. So Ron grew up in Lafayette, then went on to college in the same city where he grew up. Well, Ron toiled in the minors for quite a while, actually. He was a starter, kind of a spot starter, kind of a reliever, and he really didn't have that much success with the Yankees except for his 1975 season where he posted a 2.90 ERA in the Yankees bullpen, basically. And in 1975, he got a call up from AAA after posting that awesome ERA and appeared in 10 games for the Yankees that year, posting a 3.45 ERA. Well, in 1976, he was pretty much delegated to just AAA, although he did get 7 appearances for the Yankees at the major league level as a lefty specialist. And going into the 1977 season, I don't know what happened. Either the switch, clicked on or whatever it was. Ron was, going to be 26 years old, and the Yankees decided to make him a starter. And that was a great move because he posted a 16-7 record as a full-time starter that year with a 2.82 ERA in 31 games for the Yankees that year. Well, this wouldn't be the best that you would see out of Ron. The following year, in 1978, Ron had arguably possibly one of the best seasons in the history of the New York Yankees pitching staffs, where he posted a 25-win season with just 3 losses, with a winning percentage of 89% with a 1.74 ERA in 35 games for the Yankees that year. He would eventually help them go back to the World Series and win the World Series that year. In 1979, he would make the All-Star team for the 2nd time. Obviously, that previous year he made the All-Star team. He didn't have 25 wins, but he led the league in ERA and posted 18 wins that year. Well, the following year, 1980, he would post a 17-10 record. So you're seeing a stretch of time here where Ron basically won 50 games in 3 years for the Yankees. And, in 1981, he was limited to just 23 starts, but posted an 11-5 record with a 2.76 ERA. Well, he bounced back in 82, posting a 14-8 record. And in 1983, he would become a 20-game winner again at 32 years old, posting a 21-9 record for the Yankees that year. Well, unfortunately, in 1984, he didn't have the success that he had the previous years, and his record dipped to actually a losing record with 10 wins and 11 losses. Well, this just motivated Ron to work even harder going into the 1985 season, and in 1985, at 34 years old, he would find that magic again, posting a 22-win season with 6 losses and posting a 3.27 ERA. So at 34 years old, he won 22 games for the Yankees that year. Well, in 1986, his record would drop down to 9 wins and 12 losses, and he would pitch for the Yankees through 1988, but he would never reach the magic of winning 20 games again like he did in 1985. In total, Ron would pitch 14 years for the New York Yankees. He would win 170 games, posting a .651 career winning percentage and a 3.29 ERA. So very, very happy to add Mr. Guidry to the collection. I had never gotten his autograph before. I saw that he recently was signing, through the mail for a fee or one per or whatever it was. And I said, hey, I'm going to stick this oversized card in the mail, see what happens, and see if he signs. Very, very happy to have it back. I hope you learned a little bit about a couple great players and great men in baseball. Pat Corrales, is just another one of those lifetime achievement awards, I guess you would say, if they were to give one out for baseball players. Because, his career in baseball, imagine the stories that guy could tell. Also very happy to add, Montreal Expos / Toronto Blue Jay to the collection, Balor Moore. Very happy that you joined me for another episode of Remember the Great Sports Through the Mail Thursdays. I look forward to your comments below, and as always, happy collecting.